Chapter 515. Xiajiqiu has lost. Cui Yinghao and Tang Jia looked at Xiajiqiu, who was being pressed on the ground by the huge finger. They could tell that he could not move at all, as if he was being pressed by a mountain. In front of him, Yi Chun, who was dressed in blue, was still in his finger-pointing posture, looking very calm. The East Demon Xiajiqiu was not a flower in a greenhouse. He was the ghost grass in the wild grassland, growing up through slaughter and ascending through slaughter. His achievements were not fake at all. They were all from real battles. Those who doubted him were either trampled under his feet or had their souls shattered. His most shocking action was that he had gone to the Sky Martial region alone. The Sky Martial region was the center of the continent, where the geniuses were as numerous as the carps in the river. It was not only the gathering place of geniuses, but also the birthplace of monsters. Wanting to make a name for oneself was as hard as climbing up to the sky. Countless people had been beaten black and blue, and had left in low spirits. However, Xiajiqiu had done something that others could not, and had spread the title of East Demon in the Sky Martial region, gaining him quite a bit of fame. But what was going on right now? The East Demon Xiajiqiu had been beaten by a young man who had not even walked out of the southern regions, and had no power to fight back. In the end, he was lying on the ground with no face left. If it were not for the fact that it would hurt if they pinched themselves, they would have thought that they were dreaming. Ling Luohan took a deep breath and said to the two, "Don't look at me in disbelief. There is no reason for the birth of monsters. If there could be an East Demon Xiajiqiu, then there could be another Yi Chun. In this era, there is no such thing as the strongest, only stronger." To be honest, even he himself was shocked. How could it be such a coincidence that they had met a Yi Chun, and a Yi Chun had beaten them all to the ground? Pop! The huge finger containing the space mentality disappeared as Yi Chun said lightly, "You can leave now. There is no need for me to invite you in person, right?" Cough cough. Xiajiqiu slowly stood up while coughing out blood. "Good, very good. This is the first time I, Xiajiqiu, have lost outside of the Sky Martial region. You are the first, and you will be the last. Wait for my return. The day I return will be the day of your nightmare. Today's humiliation will be returned 100-fold. It was not that Xiajiqiu had never been defeated before. However, those who defeated him were all geniuses of the Sky Martial domain. Most of them had already been trampled underfoot by him. He believed that Yi Chun would be the next one to be trampled underfoot ruthlessly. I've heard these words countless times. Unfortunately, they are getting further and further away from me. I can't even see hope." "Do you think you have hope?" Yi Chun didn't take Xiajiqiu's threat seriously. In fact, he actually hoped that someone would challenge him. But the prerequisite was that they had sufficient strength. How could you possibly understand my future achievements? You're just a stepping stone for me. One day, I'll step on you and reach even greater heights." Hearing this, Yi Chun shook his head and chuckled. "Get lost. I'm waiting for you to step on me. Go." Xiajiqiu flew out of the manor with a pale face. Then Ling Luohan, Tang Jia, and Cui Yinghao also flew out of the tea house, flying towards the north. The manor was silent for a while before it suddenly boiled up, defeating the 4 top young warriors of the eastern regions with his own power. When had anyone in the southern regions ever done this before? In the past 1,000 years, only Xianhou and Yi Chun had done it. In other words, Yi Chun's current achievements could already be compared with Xuanhou's. Until the very end, no one could say for sure. "Yi Chun, congratulations. From now on, you are the king of the young generation of our southern regions." Li Shaoran was the first one to go downstairs to congratulate him. Yi Chun didn't care. It's just an empty title. An empty title could easily make people obsessed. Taking it too seriously would just be asking for trouble. Hee. Whether it's an empty title or a real one, you deserve this position. However, the throne is not that easy to sit on. In the future, the glory of the southern regions will be closely related to you. Even if you want to stay out of it, you won't be able to. There are some things that won't work according to your will. Yi Chun nodded. Having come this far, he couldn't back out anymore. Then, everyone went downstairs to congratulate Yi Chun. At this point, there was no longer any suspense. Even Jing Aoxuan and Chu Zhongtian had accepted this result. What else could they do if they didn't accept it? If they had the ability, they could go beat Xie Zhiqiu and the others. In fact, they should be glad that Yi Chun was here. Otherwise, this tea gathering would have been the most humiliating one. Now they understood that the throne was not something ordinary people could sit on. Without the power, sitting on it would only be a joke, and they could be beaten down at any time. The next morning, the tea gathering had come to an end. Xie Zhiqiu's incident had added a legendary color to this tea gathering. Perhaps people would forget about the previous tea gatherings, but they would never forget this one. The tea gathering's end was not the real end. When the news spread out, and everyone knew that Yi Chun had officially become the #1 warrior of the southern region, all the martial institutions gasped. This growth speed was way too fast. In the last tea gathering, he was only on par with Li Xiaoyan and the other two, with a slight advantage. How could he leave them in the dust after only 2 years? Yi Chun could no longer be described as a genius. Only a monster would be more suitable. The South Ridra region was already shocking enough, and the other regions were even more shocked. They had no doubt that as long as Yi Chun could continue to grow, he would definitely reach the life and death realm. Moreover, they believed that once Yi Chun entered the life and death realm, he would definitely surpass normal king warriors. Perhaps he would be like Xianhou, becoming a top king warrior in a couple of years. This kid cannot be left alive. Back then, one Xianhou had already made us lose a lot. With another Yi Chun, I am afraid that even when our leader recovers his peak power, he would not be able to do anything. Inside a secret underground manor, a group of mysterious people in black robes gathered together. Isn't it a bit too exaggerated? He is not even a Sea of Souls realm warrior yet. He is still far away from the life and death realm. Stupid! Have you forgotten about Xianhou? It is because we underestimated her that we ended up in this situation. Killing him while he is still weak is the best choice. Otherwise, once he grows stronger, no one will be able to do anything to him. In that case, let me do it. Just in case, we have to kill him with one attack this time. Because there is still a South Ridra martial school in the Windy Nation. I suspect that there is more than one Long Bai there. Perhaps there will be other Sea of Souls realm warriors, and even master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors. Therefore, we will not have a second chance. Ghost Cry, Ink Wolf, you two move together and kill this kid once. Don't worry. Although we are not master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors, killing a brat, who is not even fully grown, yet will be a piece of cake. Just wait for the good news. Shoo! Shoo! 2 people in black robes were gone. Nightmare, you follow them. The leading man in black robes seemed to be worried as he said to the shadow hidden in the darkness behind him. Yes, second master. A dry voice was heard, but the shadow had already disappeared. Chapter 516. After Yi Chun had won the title of the #1 young warrior of the southern region, the Sky Cloud Martial School had held a celebration for 3 days. One could not blame the Sky Cloud Martial School for being so grand, but the fact that the #1 young warrior of the southern region was just too shocking. The population of the southern region was more than hundreds of billions, and among those trillions, there were at least 100 billion young warriors under the age of 30. The #1 among 100 billion. Just thinking about it made people's hair stand on end. And what was Yi Chun's background? The Yi family, a rank 8 family, the Sky Cloud Martial School, a rank 7 martial institution. Other than that, there was nothing special about him. If Yi Chun was a disciple of a rank 5 martial institution, it might not be so sensational, but he was just a nameless brat before. When Yi Chun returned to the Yi family did not want to be left behind. They held a celebration for 3 days. By this time, Yi Chun's golden statue had already been built. If everything went well, this golden statue would become the symbol of Luo City. In the next 10,000 years, or even 100,000 years, it would be a legendary statue. If anyone wanted to build their own statue in Luo City, they would have to be as powerful as or even more powerful than Yi Chun. But of course the chance was very slim. One Luo City, no one Windy Nation, with one Yi Chun was already a miracle. Who would dare to hope for another genius like Yi Chun? Although the celebration lasted for 3 days, Yi Chen had only shown his face once, and spent the rest of his time training. Yeah, he is about to complete the slaughter sword spirit. Inside the secret room in the yard, the spot between Yi Chen's eyebrows was expanding and contracting. The dark red sword intent spread out uncontrollably, making the spot between Yi Chen's eyebrows look like a shining gem. Pa! A sound that did not belong to this world was heard. Inside Yi Chen's soul ocean, a world-shaking change had happened. The surface of the ancient-looking long sword, which represented the slaughter sword spirit, started to crack. Pieces of iron skin fell off. As the iron skin fell off, a crystal-like dark red light leaked out. The dark red light was so sharp that it made the slaughter sword spirit look like a huge glowing object, releasing thousands of dark red sword light beams. The sword light swept across, dispersing part of the dark fog in the soul ocean, lighting up the whole world. Roar! An earth-shattering sword cry rang out, and the iron sheet finally peeled off completely. The ancient longsword had completely changed. Its entire body looked as if it had been forged from a dark red crystal, and its edges were incomparably sharp. On the body of the sword, lines of blood spread out, emitting an endless aura of slaughter. Slaughter sword spirit done. Before Yi Chen could even let out a sigh of relief, an unparalleled slaughter sword will suddenly gushed out from the center of his eyebrows. With a rumble, the entire courtyard was split into two. The terrifying sword will instantly absorbed a large amount of yuan qi, forming a blood-red sword qi that tore through the sky. What happened? Yi Tianhao, Shen Yuqing, and many other elders of the Yi clan rushed over. Whoosh! A figure flew out. It was Yi Chen. Father, mother, I'm about to make a breakthrough. I'll be leaving the clan for a while. After saying that, before Yi Tianhao and his wife could react, he turned into a streak of light and flew away. Breakthrough? Is it breaking through to the Sea of Souls realm? Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing's faces were filled with shock as they gasped. To the north of Luo City was a continuous mountain range called the South Rudra Mountain Range. There were a lot of demonic beasts there, and they reproduced extremely fast. It was the training ground for the Rudra Martial School's disciples. Shoo! A beam of light sliced through the sky, diving into the depths of the South Rudra Mountain Range. I did not expect that I would be able to break through to the Sea of Souls realm so soon, after the completion of the Slaughter Sword Spirit. The gate between the Astral Reaching Realm and the Sea of Souls realm is called the Mortal Transformation Gate. Once I make it through, my lifespan will increase by 100 years, reaching 300 years. It is also because of the importance of the Mortal Transformation Gate. On top of the mountain, the Zhenyuan vibration on Yi Chen's body was extremely unstable, causing the weather to change, and the yuan qi to surge crazily. All of the demonic beasts within 100 miles were scared into hiding in their nests, shivering as they looked at where Yi Chen was at the same time. Boom! The surprising sky cracked open for no reason, and beams of thunder and lightning struck down. Although the thunder and lightning had become impure after leaving the surprising sky, it still contained the nature's will, which was even more powerful than the martial will, since it was formed by the rules. Crack! A couple of mountains nearby were shattered, and the thunder and fire splashed everywhere. Only when one got closer did they realize that the power of the thunder and lightning had actually reached deep into the ground, creating huge pits of unknown depth. Right at this moment, the Zhenyuan in Yi Chen's body exploded. It followed the top of Yi Chen's head straight up into the sky, connecting with stunning sky. Originally, the thunder and lightning were attacking randomly, but after being guided by Yi Chen's Zhenyuan, they suddenly found a target and fell down, drowning Yi Chen within the thunder ocean. Break! Yi Chen held his sword with one hand and sliced open the thunder ocean. Although the thunder ocean had been sliced open, the nature's will contained in it still managed to hit Yi Chen's Sea of Soul, causing huge waves to rise up. Nature's will soul. I see. It was not that the nature's will did not have any destructive power. Once Yi Chen's sword intent could not compete with it, his Sea of Soul would be completely destroyed, and his soul would be destroyed. On the other hand, if the sword intent could fight against the nature's will, The nature's will would refine the sea of soul, making the soul stronger and purer. Of course, the nature's will would change according to the warrior's will. The more powerful the warrior's will, the more powerful the nature's will would be. Therefore, warriors with a weak will would have a higher chance of reaching the Sea of Soul's realm, provided that they had the chance to do so. Yi Chen's sword intent was just too powerful, and the natural will that he had triggered was just as powerful. After the first wave of thunder disaster, the second wave appeared in the sky. This time, it was not in the shape of a beam, but in the form of thunderballs. The thunderballs smashed down one after another, creating earth-shattering explosions. Sky thunder cut. Countless blue sword lights blossomed, cutting open all of the incoming thunderballs. Only the nature's will, which was invisible and formless, attacked into Yi Chen's Sea of Soul. With his slaughter sword intent, Yi Chen was able to fight against the nature's will as easily as eating or drinking. He was not hurt at all, and instead, his soul had become even more powerful. Boom, 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 boom. The third wave of thunder disaster arrived, and it was human-shaped lightning. Countless human-shaped lightning bolts formed into an army, attacking toward Yi Chen like a flood. Some of the more powerful human-shaped lightning bolts were holding lightning weapons in their hands, waving them around like powerful warriors. Even human-shaped lightning bolts have appeared. This little guy's sword intent is way too powerful. Even the sky is jealous of him. 100 miles away, a slim figure stood on top of a mountain. It was indeed the leader of the Rudra martial school, Long Bai. Long Bai had already sensed it when Yi Chen was going through the thunder disaster. Since the Rudra mountain was only 2,000 miles away from the Rudra martial school, it did not take long for her to arrive. Seeing that it was Yi Chen who was going through the thunder disaster, Long Bai was quite surprised. If she remembered correctly, Yi Chen was 24 years old this year. If he was able to go through the thunder disaster and reach the Sea of Soul's realm at that age, wouldn't that be even faster than Xianhou? Gold resonant radiance sword art. The sword chi that was mixed with a golden light was thrown out, killing all of the lightning troops in a straight line. Soon, even more sword chi was thrown out, and the lightning troops were shattered instantly, turning into pure thunder yuan chi and dissipating in the air. The overwhelming nature's will attacked into Yi Chen's soul ocean. It was as if he had just eaten a great tonic. Yi Chen could feel that his spirit had never been so excited before. His soul power seemed to be increasing in a straight line without any pause. All right, again. Yi Chen raised his sword up to the sky. Heaven and earth were furious. The fourth wave of lightning tribulation not only had humanoid lightning, but there were also lightning drums, lightning dragon horses, and even humanoid lightning clad in lightning armor. This was an even more standardized lightning army that was born from nothingness, slaughtering their way over from nothingness. A magnificent army with tens of thousands of men and horses, their imposing manner like rainbows. The fourth wave of thunder disaster. Long Bai thought that the thunder disaster would be over soon, but she did not expect that Yi Chen's thunder disaster was far from over. The fourth wave of thunder disaster arrived, turning into a huge army that attacked Yi Chen. The number was way more than the third wave, and even the human-shaped lightning bolts were a couple of times more powerful. Not to mention the lightning dragon horses, lightning drums, and human-shaped lightning bolts with lightning armors. The fourth wave of thunder disaster is extremely rare. I wonder if he can handle it. If he can, then the training of his soul would be unimaginable. Long Bai was actually very jealous of Yi Chen. Reaching the Sea of Soul's realm was not something that could be controlled, and it would happen without any sign. Therefore, even though a lot of people knew that the more powerful the thunder disaster, the more powerful their soul would be, they still could not do it. They could only hope to form their martial spirit as soon as possible. That way, once they made it through the thunder disaster and reached the Sea of Soul's realm, their soul power would be much more powerful than normal people's. However, the more powerful the thunder disaster was, the more dangerous it would be. If it were a normal person going through the thunder disaster, they would be able to handle it easily. But for people with a strong willpower, it would be a different story. Facing this many lightning armies, no matter how powerful Yi Chen's sword art was, he would not be able to handle it. He put away his longsword and flicked his fingers rapidly. Shoo! 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 Countless lotus heart sword chi shot out, turning into a sword chi tornado that attacked the lightning armies. There were a lot of them, so the sword chi in the tornado was not reduced at all. Moreover, there would be a huge amount of sword chi shooting out at every second, sweeping out like a heavy storm. Soon, the fourth wave of thunder disaster disappeared. Yi Chen's soul power had increased drastically, which made his eyebrows bulge out. The thunder disaster should be over by now, right? Long Bai let out a breath, feeling a bit shocked at Yi Chen's power. Boom! Without any lightning, the sky darkened for no reason. From day to night, one could not even see their own fingers. Suddenly an earth-shaking explosion was heard, shaking the whole South Rudra Mountains. This is... Long Bai lifted up her head, her eyes wide and mouth open. In the dark sky, an even bigger crack was torn open. It was dozens of miles long and a couple of miles wide. It was the scene of the shocking sky barrier being torn open. Then, endless thunder and lightning gathered together, turning into a huge thunder palace. The palace looked so real that it was almost real. Countless thunder dragons coiled around the palace, roaring continuously. The fifth wave of thunder disaster, Thunder Dragon Palace. Long Bai mumbled to herself. Chapter 517. Zhenyuan Ocean. 10,000 streams returned to the origin. The unprecedented pressure made Yi Chen's spirit, chi, and soul power explode like a volcano, shooting out from between Yi Chen's eyebrows. Pop! Pop! A slight cracking sound came from his dantian. It was the Zhenyuan core that had started to melt, turning into a huge amount of Zhenyuan liquid. The liquid flowed inside his dantian, looking like a blue lake. On top of the lake, there was still half of the Zhenyuan core that had not melted yet floating there. Meanwhile, the natural yuan qi within hundreds of miles continued to pour in with Yi Chen as the center. Yi Chen was like a black hole, continuously devouring the yuan qi and storing it inside his body, training it into Zhenyuan to fill up the emptiness in his dantian. No, the training speed is too slow. I still need top-rank spirit stones. Seeing that the Thunder Dragon Palace was slowly descending, Yi Chen hurried to take out a huge amount of top-rank spirit stones. With a shake of his Zhenyuan, the top-rank spirit stones exploded together. The pure top-rank spirit stones yuan qi spread out and was completely absorbed by Yi Chen. The top-rank spirit stones yuan qi was not something the natural yuan qi could compare with. It was dozens of times purer, and with a slight training, it turned into liquid Zhenyuan, expanding the Zhenyuan lake. Right now, even if I cannot make it through the thunder disaster, I am already at half-step Sea of Soul's realm. The Sea of Soul's realm is indeed powerful. My Zhenyuan is just like the ocean, rich and powerful. Plus, there is an undercurrent swirl in the center of my Zhenyuan, which makes it extremely pure. As long as I can make it through the thunder disaster, I will have time to purify all my Zhenyuan and turn it into Sea of Soul's realm Zhenyuan. All of a sudden, Yi Chen felt that he had become much more powerful. The huge amount of Zhenyuan was like a powerful source of power, bringing him waves of power. The speed of the Thunder Dragon Palace's descent was getting faster and faster. The space rippled like water. The Thunder Dragon that was coiling around the Dragon Palace roared into the sky, its voice loud and full of majesty. Crack! Yi Chen's body sank down. The ground under his feet was full of cracks. It turned out that hundreds of miles of mountain range could not handle the pressure from the Thunder Dragon Palace, and had sunk down dozens of meters. Countless mountains had been shattered, and countless beasts had been turned into ashes by the thunder. Sky Thunder Cut. Facing the Thunder Dragon Palace, Yi Chen activated his Sea of Soul's realm Zhenyuan, which was not very pure yet, and threw out a beam of blue sword chi. This sword chi was thousands of meters long, which was more than twice as powerful as before. Wherever the sword chi went, the space pattern spread out in a sharp cone shape. Clang! The Thunder and Lightning Dragon Palace seemed to have a physical body. When the sword chi struck it, it only scattered countless thunder and fire, leaving behind a sword mark that was neither shallow nor deep. Gold resonant radiance. After the blue sword chi was the green gold sword light. The sword light trembled and sent a corner of the thunder and lightning dragon palace flying. This won't do. A single attack won't be able to destroy the thunder dragon palace. I can only use the storm of sword beams. After reaching half-step Sea of Soul realm, the Lotus Heart Sword Chi had also become stronger. After all, the Lotus Heart Sword Chi was made of Zhen Yuan. If the Zhen Yuan was pure enough, the power of the Lotus Heart Sword Chi would naturally be strong enough. Bang 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 bang, countless Lotus Heart Sword Chi shot out. The surface of the Thunder and Lightning Dragon Palace looked like fireworks exploding. The 4 Thunder Dragons screamed before being killed completely by the Sword Chi. Carrying the broken pieces of the Sword Chi, the Thunder and Lightning Dragon Palace still attacked toward Yi Chen at an extreme speed. It was like a wave of light that had traveled thousands of miles. The light was getting dimmer and dimmer. When it was only 100 meters away from Yi Chen, the Thunder and Lightning Dragon Palace suddenly became blurry and disappeared with the wind. A wave of mysterious natural consciousness ignored the time and space, entering into Yi Chen's Sea of Soul in between his eyebrows. The Sea of Soul in between his eyebrows was filled with waves that shot up into the sky. Even the Slaughter Sword Spirit and the other normal sword spirit were affected, shaking violently. What a horrifying natural consciousness! Yi Chen tried his best to push his Slaughter Sword intent, making it shine with a dark red light that shone out in all directions. Standing on top of the mountain without moving, Yi Chen closed both of his eyes tightly. It is indeed impressive that he could reach half-step Sea of Soul realm in advance. Long Bian let out a breath. Yi Chen's thunder test was ridiculously powerful. Compared to him, when she was going through the thunder test, it was just child's play. It was not even worth mentioning. She was afraid that from the ancient times until now, the number of people who had gone through 5 waves of thunder tests was not that high. I wonder how powerful he would be after reaching the Sea of Souls realm. Long Bian was very curious. Gradually, the natural consciousness started to soften down, continuing to train Yi Chen's soul. Yi Chen's soul grew stronger again, shining with a silver light. His soul power was the Sea of Soul, making it look like a silver ocean. In the deep part of the ocean, there were a lot of blood-colored tunnels that led to different directions. Right then, the blood-colored tunnels seemed to have woken up and started to move quickly, absorbing the soul power and transferring it to the end of the blood-colored tunnel. Pap! Something shocking happened. Yi Chen did not open his eyes, but the center of his eyebrows had cracked open. There was a silver light inside, shooting out a beam of silver light. It was hard for other people to see it, since it was the color of the soul. Only he himself could see it. Right then, that beam of light had pierced through the surreal space, spreading out for hundreds of thousands of miles, even millions of miles. Yeah, Snake Island, Star Regional Lake Mountain Region. A series of mirage-like images appeared in his mind. They were very real, exactly the same as what he was seeing with his own eyes. However, the distance was way too far. Yi Chen was in the Windy Nation, but he could actually see the Snake Island, which was millions of miles away, as well as the Star Regional Lake, the mountains outside the lake, and beyond the mountains was the unfamiliar mountain region. All of a sudden, Yi Chen made a noise as a beam of black blood leaked out of the crack between his eyebrows. Then, the crack closed up quickly, and nothing could be seen anymore. Opening his eyes, a shocked expression flashed through his face. This is the legendary Eye of the Soul. The Eye of the Soul, just like the name suggested, was the Eye of the Soul. Only when one's soul was extra powerful would there be a small chance for it to form. Once it was formed, it would become a special talent with a very magical power. The Battle King had only heard about it by chance, and had never seen it with his own eyes. Obviously, Yi Chen did not have the power to use the Eye of the Soul yet, and it had been forcefully closed. If it were not for the fact that Yi Chen could still remember what he had seen before, he would have thought that he was hallucinating. Let me reach the Sea of Souls realm first. Reaching the Sea of Souls realm would require a lot of Yuan Qi. If he only relied on the natural Yuan Qi, he might not even be able to make it in half a month. Therefore, Yi Chen took out a box of top-rank soul stones. His Zhen Yuan vibrated, and the top-rank soul stones exploded together with the box. That powerful top-rank soul stone's yuan qi poured into Yi Chen's body. Crack! Crack! As the top-rank soul stone's yuan qi was refined into Zhen Yuan, the half-Zhen Yuan core inside Yi Chen's dantian also started to melt faster, merging with the Zhen Yuan lake. Within a couple of breaths, the lake had changed. Not only did it expand a couple of times, but its depth had also increased by a couple of times. It was now like a small Zhen Yuan ocean. In the deep part of the Zhen Yuan ocean, the undercurrent whirlpool was getting stronger and stronger. A huge amount of Zhen Yuan was pouring into it every second. When it came out from the bottom, the Zhen Yuan would be twice as pure as before, turning into Sea of Soul's realm Zhen Yuan. When the last bit of Zhen Yuan core was melted, Yi Chen's Zhen Yuan ocean was completely formed. A huge green lotus floated on top of it. There was a lotus seed in the middle of the lotus, and a bunch of solidified lotus heart, sword chi was stored on top of it, looking like lotus seeds. In the surroundings, there were a lot of channels that connected to the Zhen Yuan ocean. Yi Chen knew that they were meridians, the channels for transferring Zhen Yuan. Finally, I have reached the Sea of Soul's realm. Yi Chen let out a long breath. If one was immortal before the Sea of Soul's realm, then after reaching the Sea of Soul's realm, one could no longer be considered a mortal anymore. Who had ever seen a mortal who could live to 300 years old? Most importantly, the dantian of Sea of Soul's realm warriors was the Zhen Yuan ocean. Their Zhen Yuan would be extremely rich, and their battle endurance would be dozens of times more powerful than astral-reaching realm warriors. Combined with the spirit body, they would be a tireless battle machine. Boom! A punch was thrown out, causing the space to ripple and a mountain far away to explode. Just the Zhen Yuan alone is already this powerful. Yi Chen nodded satisfactorily. All right, let's see how much more powerful my soul has become. Between his eyebrows, Yi Chen tried his best to release his soul power. 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles. Normal Sea of Soul's realm warriors would not be able to go beyond 100 miles, and I am 5 times more than them. Yi Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. Right then a beam of light shot over from afar. Yi Chen, congratulations. Once you have reached the Sea of Soul's realm, you have transformed from a cocoon into a butterfly. Revealing her figure, Long Bai said with a smile. Yi Chen was not surprised by Long Bai's appearance. When he released his soul power, he had already sensed her existence. She also knew that she had been exposed. Leader Long. Yi Chen held his fists together. You have just reached the Sea of Soul's realm, so you probably have some doubts about your own power. How about we exchange a few moves? Even as she said that, Long Bai had already attacked with 70 to 80% of her power. That sky-covering huge hand tore through the air, grabbing toward Yi Chen. Flicking out his longsword, Yi Chen welcomed the sky-covering huge hand. Swoosh! The sky-covering huge hand was split into two, and that powerful sword chi tore through the sky. The aftershock spread out, causing the cloud ocean to crack open like the mouth of a demon. Long Bai was a bit surprised. 70 to 80% of her power was already enough to beat normal spirit warriors. Plus, Yi Chen had just reached the early Sea of Soul's realm, while she was at peak level late Sea of Soul's realm. Be it the purity or quantity of her Zhen Yuan, she would be more powerful than Yi Chen. Not bad. Take another attack of mine. Taking a deep breath, Long Bai twisted her right hand in a circle, causing the water to vibrate. An even bigger mountain-like hand pressed towards Yi Chen. It was so huge that it covered the entire sky. The patterns on the palm could be clearly seen. It was Long Bai's low-rank profound sense martial art, Cloud Dragon Hand. Yi Chen did not back out, his longsword slashing down. Crack! The huge hand made of water element Zhen Yuan was cut off at the same time, exploding all of a sudden. Long Bai was shocked. That Cloud Dragon Hand, she had used 90% of her power, but it still could not hurt Yi Chen. It was easy to tell that Yi Chen had not used all of his power either. Was he really just at the early Sea of Soul's realm? His battling power was horrifying. Chapter 518. With my current power, I should not be afraid of spirit warriors anymore. Yi Chen was not sure that he could win against all of them. Therefore, it would be more appropriate to say that he was not afraid. Once one's cultivation base reached the Sea of Souls realm, there would be too many factors that would affect one's battling power. Cultivation base, martial spirit, profound sense martial skills, experience and battle talent. Any one of them would be closely related to the battling power. Being powerful in one of them would not mean much, but being powerful in all of them would make one truly powerful. For example, a Sea of Souls realm master level warrior would be powerful in all aspects. Their cultivation base would be at least late Sea of Souls realm, and their willpower would shine brightly. They would have mastered multiple low-rank profound sense martial skills, and one mid-rank profound sense martial skill. They would have rich experience and battle talent. Only by reaching the standard in all aspects would one be considered a master-level warrior. If one or two aspects were not up to standard, they would still be spirit warriors. Therefore, some of the peak spirit warriors were very powerful, and Yi Chen did not have the confidence to win against them. In 5 aspects, my slaughter sword spirit is enough to look down on everyone. Even Sea of Souls realm master level warriors would not be able to compete with me. In terms of experience, I am not that far behind, so there will not be a gap. Although my battle talent is not that much higher than others, it is at least one of my advantages. The remaining ones would be my weak cultivation base and profound sense martial skills. But my soul is 5 times more powerful now, and my comprehensive ability has been greatly improved. The disadvantage in profound sense martial skills should not last for too long. As for cultivation base, there is nothing I can do about it. I can only train honestly and explore more when I have time, looking for some spirit herbs that can increase Jin Yuan. After exchanging blows with Long Bai, Yi Chen had a general idea of his own power. Long Bai stopped attacking inside. From now on, you already have the right to explore the continent. As long as you do not run into Sea of Souls realm master level warriors, you will be safe. As for life and death realm warriors, they rarely appear. Most of them are exploring unknown forbidden places and planets. Thank you for taking care of me before. Putting the longsword back into the scabbard, Yi Chen said gratefully. Long Bai waved her hand. Only with investment can there be profits. You are the one who has invested the least in Dragon God Celestial Palace. Even I am surprised at your achievements. But you still have a lot of potential. You have to keep working hard and keep improving. Don't be affected by external factors. Yi Chen knows. Now that you have reached the Seas of Souls realm, I do not have much to give you. This spirit pattern fruit was grown from a 10,000 years old spirit pattern tree. It blooms once every 100 years, and bears fruit once every 100 years. It contains a huge amount of spirit pattern yuan qi. Once you stabilize your early Seas of Souls realm cultivation, I think you will be able to reach peak level early Seas of Souls realm. Long Bai took out a fist-sized orange-yellow fruit from her storage ring and threw it at Yi Chen. After receiving the spirit rune fruit, Yi Chen lowered his head and looked at it. There were mysterious patterns on the surface of the fruit, and a special yuan qi flowed along the patterns, causing the entire spirit rune fruit to be filled with spirit qi. It must be a superior grade spirit fruit. With a flip of his hand, the fruit disappeared. Yi Chen expressed his thanks and asked, Sect Leader Long, I wonder if Su Jing is doing well in the Dragon God Celestial Palace? Long Bai said with a smile that was yet not a smile. Don't worry, the little girl is doing very well in Dragon God Celestial Palace. When you see her again, you'll be shocked. Moreover, she's very popular in Dragon God Celestial Palace. If you don't work hard, you'll have troubles. Trouble? Yi Chen chuckled. What kind of trouble was he afraid of? The more trouble there was, the more it would force him to bring out his potential. Alright, I will go first. Yi Chen, remember, if you do not want to live an ordinary life, then you have to be powerful. In the future, you will realize that the more powerful you are, the more you will feel that you are not powerful enough. As for what to choose, I believe you already have the answer in your heart. The voice gradually faded away as Long Bai disappeared at the end of the mountain range. Looking at the place where Long Bai disappeared, Yi Chen mumbled to himself, Powerful? I have never thought about it, But being ordinary is also not my choice. My choice should be to climb one peak after another, until there is no road left to walk, no peak left to climb. After standing silently for a while, Yichen turned into a beam of light and flew away. The South Ridra mountain range once again returned to its peaceful state. Only the ruins left behind told people that something extraordinary had happened here. Returning to the Yi family, Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing were both waiting in Yi Chen's courtyard, while Yi Xian and Yi Xiaoxiao were playing on the side. "Big brother!" Stopping playing, the two kids pounced at Yi Chen. "Chen, you've made a breakthrough?" Yi Tianhao studied Yi Chen and realized that his son had become more and more mysterious. Because Yi Chen did not try to hide his Zhen Yuan vibration, he could easily sense that the natural Yuan Qi around him was surrounding Yi Chen, as if it was obeying him. Yi Chen nodded. "I am already at the Sea of Soul's realm." "Good. There has never been a Sea of Soul's realm warrior in our Yi family. I did not expect my son to break this record. As a father, I will die without regrets." Yi Tianhao laughed out loud. Besides excitement, he could not be more excited. In this world where only powerful people were respected, everyone knew the importance of power. He and Shen Yuqing were both still at the peak level late clasping Yuan realm, so it should not be a problem for them to reach the astral reaching realm. But it would be impossible for them to reach the Sea of Soul's realm. On the other hand, Yi Xian and Yi Xiaoxiao were both very talented. In another 2 years, when they reached the optimal training age of 10, they would be able to start training their qi. Sky Thunder Cut. On the empty ground next to the lake, a row of training columns stood there. They were not made of normal iron, but were bought from the martial city. Each of them was as hard as a low-rank great weapon, and had been trained by the earth evil Jin fire. Crack, 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 crack. Yi Chen waved out a sword attack, and half of the training columns were cut in half. There were 5 to 6 of them. 60%. He has learned the Thunder Profound in such a short time. Yi Chen was very surprised. It had only been a week since he had reached the Sea of Soul's realm, and he had already learned the Thunder Profound, increasing his Sky Thunder Cut to 60%. This kind of learning speed was almost 4 to 5 times faster than before. The things that were hard to understand before were suddenly understood. The soul is the foundation. Right now, Yi Chen was completely sure that the soul was the foundation of a human. If the soul was powerful, then the other aspects would be powerful as well. If the soul was not powerful enough, then one's achievement would be limited. What others could do in 10 days, one would need to spend dozens of days. I have not reached the bottleneck yet, so there is no need to rush out. I will rest for a few days in the Yi family, and increase my power to the limit. After making up his mind, Yi Chen's state of mind became even more peaceful. The days passed by one after another, and Yi Chen's profound sense martial art matured day by day. Even the 9th movement of the Green Lotus sword art, Amaranthine Nature, had broken through to become a profound sense martial art. He had learned a bit of the Wood Profound, increasing it to 60%. Although the power of Amaranthine Nature was not as powerful as the Gold Resonant Radiance sword art, it was quite good at locking onto the target. With one sword attack, even the opponent with the same power as him would not have a chance to dodge, unless the opponent's movement art was way more powerful than his. Besides that, after reaching the Sea of Soul's realm, the space mentality would no longer have to rely on the space power to train. Of course, observing the space power would be a lot faster, which was without a doubt. Chenair is so hardworking. Not far away, Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing stood side by side. Shen Yuqing was talking to each other in a low voice. Yi Tianhao said, "Geniuses need to work hard as well. For Chenair to be able to reach where he is now, he must have gone through a lot of hardships and dangers. Those who have the reputation of being geniuses, but are too proud and arrogant, afraid of danger, they have already lost their brilliance." Shen Yuqing said with a complicated expression, "We are not geniuses, so we do not know what kind of hardships geniuses have to go through. As his parents, we can only watch from the side and give him a warm home when he is tired. Children have their own fortune. Our Chenair will definitely be extraordinary in the future, so we do not need to worry too much. If we worry about him, It will only bring him more pressure. Yeah. The two did not disturb Yi Qin's training and left quietly. 1 month had passed. Cut. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qin waved out his sword. The gold light took up most of the space, and only 20% of the blue light was left. Crack. A row of training columns was cut down. It was not a normal cut, as the middle part of the training columns had disappeared completely. It had already been shattered into pieces by the power of the gold resonant radiance attack. 80%. My gold resonant radiance attack has reached 80%. And this is because I have controlled the attacking range on purpose. Otherwise, the Luo city in front of me would have been cut in half. A smile appeared on Yi Qin's face. In the past month he had gained a lot. Sky Thunder Cut and Reverse Sky Thunder Cut were both at 70%. Amaranthan Nature was also at 60%. The one with the biggest improvement was the Gold Resonant Radiance Attack, which had reached 80% right away. It was not that far away from completion. Of course, it did not mean that the Gold Resonant Radiance Attack was easy to train. In fact, it was the hardest one to train out of the three. According to Yi Qin's estimation, it should be a top low-rank profound sword movement, which was extremely powerful in terms of attacking power. The reason why the Gold Resonant Radiance sword art was at the front was because it had been learned from someone else, and it was someone else's profound sword movement. The Sky Thunder Cut and Amaranthan Nature had to be created by oneself, which meant that it was like creating something out of nothing. Therefore, it was not that strange to be able to train it to 80%. The further I train the profound, the harder it gets. This should be my limit. Even in the extreme void, I would not be able to train it any faster. However, even though my profound sword movement has reached its limit, my body art has not reached its limit yet. My separating shadow flying art actually requires me to learn the shadow profound. Only by learning the shadow profound will I be able to train it to the profound flying art level, which is a bit hard. It is almost as hard as the space profound. People often describe things as unpredictable and confusing. The wind profound was actually very easy to train, since it was one of the elements of Yuan Qi. However, the shadow profound was the real mystery. These days, he had been observing the shadows of the buildings, the birds, his own shadow, and the shadows of others. Because of the increase in his comprehensive ability, he had actually managed to learn the shadow mentality. It was just like how he had learned the space mentality when he was observing the space power. After learning the shadow mentality, Yi Qin's separating shadow flying art could only be described as mysterious and unpredictable. Within a flash, his shadow could be seen everywhere. Yi Tianhao, who had accidentally witnessed this scene, had his mouth wide open, unable to come back to his senses for a long time. The shadow mentality had been successfully learned, but Yi Qin knew that if he wanted to train it to the shadow profound, there would still be a long way to go. Of course, once he managed to learn the shadow profound, his separating shadow flying art would definitely be an extremely horrifying profound flying art. After all, the more powerful the profound, the more powerful the corresponding martial art would be. This was proven by the void-shattering finger. Chapter 519. We have reached the Windy Nation. It is indeed quite a long journey. On top of a huge tree next to the Rocky Mountain, a man in a black robe looked into the distance. Under the tree, there were 7 or 8 corpses lying on the ground. All of them had their brains taken out. Next to them were a man and a wolf. The one who had eaten the brains was the wolf, a beast with red fur and eyes all over its forehead. Hey, Ink Wolf, every time I come out with you, it is always so bloody. Can you tell your dream-eating wolf to eat less? The man in the black robe standing on the tree said unhappily. The man in the black robe, who was stroking the beast's fur, said indifferently, "No, the brain has the energy it needs, unless you can find some clam beasts." "Where can I find clam beasts?" "Never mind, just put it away. Let's hurry. It has been 2 months since the tea gathering. That brat might leave already. Once we kill him, your dream-eating wolf's head will belong to you. This is the head of a genius after all." It would take some time for the news to spread. Although the two had left as soon as possible, it had already been 2 months. Hearing the words "the head of a genius," The man in the black robe who was stroking the dream-eating wolf sneered and slowly straightened his body. "Remnant soul, come in." He patted on the metal tag on his waist. Shoo! The dream-eating wolf turned into a beam of light and disappeared into it. This metal tag was the size of a palm, with an ancient character beast written on it. It was a beast tag that was even rarer than a storage ring. The beast tag contained a space inside, which could be used to raise beasts. Of course, it would only work if the owner left his own soul mark on the beast's soul. Shoo! Shoo! The two flashed once and disappeared, leaving behind the horrifying corpses. The poetic perspective of shadow is indeed mysterious. It contains the power of Yin, but it is not as pure as the poetic perspective of Yin. It also contains something else. Thinking of shadow, most people would think of the sun. Standing under the sun would produce a shadow. Therefore, the shadow was the opposite of the sun. Since the sun contained the poetic perspective of Yang, the opposite of the shadow was undoubtedly related to the poetic perspective of Yin. However, the truth was not absolute. The creation of shadows did not necessarily require strong sunlight. As long as it could emit light, it could create a shadow. For example, if a flame had light, it could create a shadow. If lightning had light, it could also create a shadow. It seems that if I want to raise the concept of shadow to the shadow profound, I will need to understand more of the mysteries of the world. The shadow profound is much more complicated than most profound. There were stone tables and chairs beside the lake. Yichen stopped cultivating and walked over. He sat on the stone chair and drank tea while looking at the lake. Ink Wolf, it's him. Several hundred miles away from Luo City, two black-robed men appeared. The slightly skinny black-robed man closed his eyes and sensed Yichen's presence through the air flow. The black-robed man called Ink Wolf smirked. "There's no need to ambush him. Just kill him. My dream-eating wolf can't wait any longer." "You." The skinny black-robed man shook his head as a cruel smile appeared on his face. Obviously, Ink Wolf had the same idea as him. To deal with a little guy who had not even reached the Sea of Souls realm yet, there was no need to ambush him. It was a strategy for dealing with people who were more powerful than them. The tallest buildings in Luo City used to be the towers. But now, the tallest building was Yi Chen's golden statue, which was hundreds of meters tall. Standing on top of it, one could see every corner of Luo City. The normally sacred golden statue had two uninvited guests. They were wearing black robes, and they were standing on top of the statue, looking toward where the Yi family was located. He is only a martial genius who has not grown up yet, and he already has his own golden statue. He would not even know how he died. Ink Wolf's feet shook once. The golden statue was full of cracks, seeming like it would shatter at any second. But there seemed to be a subtle balance and not a single piece fell. Without looking at the golden statue that was about to shatter, the skinny black-robed man pushed his eyesight to its limit, quickly finding Yi Chun, who was dozens of miles away. In his sight, a young man in blue was enjoying the scenery and drinking tea, looking very relaxed. As for his cultivation, he had reached the Sea of Souls realm. How long had it been? How did he reach the Sea of Souls realm already? Damn it! The skinny black-robed man cursed with a low voice. Ghost Cry, what's wrong? Ink Wolf did not pay attention to Yi Chun, as long as there was Ghost Cry. Ghost Cry said with a creepy voice. He is already a Sea of Souls realm warrior? What? You are not mistaken, are you? Although I did not use my soul power to sense it, at such a close distance, the Zhen Yuan vibration coming from his body was transmitted over through the wind Yuan Qi. It could not be fake. Although Ghost Cry did not think much of Yi Chun, he did not want to alert him either, so he used his soul power to observe. Reaching the Sea of Souls realm within 2 months? Interesting. Unfortunately, he is still going to die. What a shame. Ink Wolf was a bit surprised, but he soon recovered. They were not normal spirit realm warriors. Even if Yi Chun had reached the Sea of Souls realm, he would only be a bit more powerful than normal spirit realm warriors. Plus, there were 2 of them, plus a rank 10 dream-eating wolf. Second Master is right. This guy has to be killed. A powerful killing intent spread out of Ghost Cry's body. Who are you? Come down now. Groups of patrolling soldiers appeared around the golden statue. The leader of the patrolling soldiers pointed at the two on the statue and yelled, "Let's go." Ghost Cry did not care about the patrolling soldiers at all, shooting toward Yi Chen's direction. Hee. Ink Wolf followed closely. Before he left, he poured a wave of Zhen Yuan into the golden statue. Boom! As soon as the two of them left, the golden statue exploded. Tens of thousands of golden fragments shot out, covering a radius of several miles. Puff, 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 puff. Within a radius of several miles, the buildings were pierced through, and blood flowed like rivers. Countless people died. Next to the lake of the Yi family, Yi Chen turned his head and squinted his eyes. Using his soul power all the time would consume a lot of energy. Therefore, normally, Yi Chen would not release his soul power. He would only scan the Luo city once in a while. When the two men in black were hundreds of miles away from the city, Yi Chen did not notice them. But when they got on top of the golden statue, Yi Chen noticed them. After all, he was very sensitive to gazes. He had seen the scene of the man in black stomping on the golden statue and killing countless people. "Who are you?" Yi Chen turned around, his sword chi rising up in the air. "Brat, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being in the limelight. The tallest tree in the forest will be blown away by the wind." Ghost Cry's body art was very fast, just like the wind, but even more powerful than the wind. With a flash, he suddenly appeared and disappeared, throwing out a kick towards Yi Chen. Wind Profound. Yi Chen could tell that Ghost Cry was good at the Wind Profound. The Wind Profound was vague, and it was especially powerful in terms of speed and change. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. Holding the long sword with his left hand, Yi Chen threw out a reverse sword attack. Reverse sword. Ghost Cry was shocked. Yi Chen's attack was perfect to counter his speed and attacking angle. Being in the air, he hurried to flash once, avoiding the sword chi. "You are looking for death." Ink Wolf followed behind Ghost Cry. After Ghost Cry avoided the attack, the sword chi wrapped around his body like a waterfall. It was as fast as lightning. Without any preparation, he hurried to throw out a blade attack to block the sword chi. Pap! Pap! The sword chi and the blade chi clashed, and Ink Wolf's whole body was blown away. "Since you are already here, then stay." Shoo! His body bounced out. Yi Chen appeared in midair. He switched the sword to his right hand, throwing out a sword attack towards Ghost Cry, who was the closest to him. Wind Phantom. Ghost Cry's body shook, and dozens of illusionary shadows appeared, attacking towards Yi Chen together. The space shook intensely as the two exchanged hundreds of attacks within a second. Although Ghost Cry had created a lot of illusionary shadows, in Yi Chen's eyes, they were not much of a threat at all. With one sword attack, he shattered all of them, leaving only his real body, which was backing out quickly. "It seems like I have underestimated you." Ghost Cry had wanted to kill Yi Chen with his speed, but he did not expect Yi Chen's sword art to be so fast and accurate, which made it hard for him to get close. Yi Chen said coldly, "No matter what your purpose is, today is the day you die. Running away is useless." "Haha, run. Do you really think you are some big shot? How dare you look down on us?" Wind Shadow Invisible Hand. Ghost Cry laughed out of anger. He threw out his right hand, and the air was filled with shadows. Some of them were clenched into fists, some were palm blades, some were finger stabbing, and some were tearing the air apart. It was like there were dozens of people attacking towards Yi Chen, and each of them was different. Fast Sword Hell. Yi Chen's hand that was holding the sword disappeared, and a large amount of sword light exploded out. It was also like there were dozens of people waving their swords. However, the difference was that all of them were faster than Ghost Cry's dozens, because they were all pushed by the Fast Profound. With his amazing comprehensive ability, Yi Chen had just learned the Fast Profound 3 days ago, and he did not expect that there would be people coming to test it out right away. So fast. Ghost Cry was shocked. He could only watch his attack being cancelled out and bounced back. "Chenair, what happened?" Right then, Yi Tianhao arrived with a large group of Yi family warriors. "Die all of you." On the other side, Ink Wolf waved his hand, and a black chi spread out in all directions, drowning Yi Tianhao and the rest within it. Swoosh! A beam of sword chi flashed past, and the black chi was cut in half, disappearing completely. Yi Chen yelled with a low voice. Father, you guys should leave this area as soon as possible. The further the better. Tell the others to leave the Yi family immediately. Yi Tianhao understood the situation right away, so he made up his mind and ordered everyone to leave. Separating shadows. After yelling, Yi Chen's body flashed once, and countless shadows appeared, layer upon layer, separating the two from the rest of the Yi family. Brat die. While Yi Chen was distracted, Ghost Cry and Ink Wolf both attacked towards Yi Chen. Gold Resonant Radiance attack. The golden blue sword light exploded, and Ghost Cry was blown away instantly. Blood leaked out of the corner of his mouth, and Ink Wolf was not feeling any better either. While he was dealing with Ghost Cry, Yi Chen pointed out his finger at Ink Wolf. That waist-thick Zhen Yuan finger ignored the spatial distance and landed on Ink Wolf's protective Zhen Yuan layer, blowing him away for miles as well. Let's take him together. Ghost Cry's expression turned serious. Yi Chen's battling power was out of his expectation. Fighting 1 against 2, he still had the upper hand. Fortunately, they were not working together before, and were just doing their own thing. Chapter 520. Ghost Cry stall him first. When he is not paying attention, I can let out the dream-eating wolf, and let him enter the dream realm. As long as he enters the dream realm, he will lose control of his body and treat the dream as reality. Killing him will be as easy as flipping one's hand. Ink Wolf sent a Zhen Yuan message to Ghost Cry. Ghost Cry nodded as a wicked smile appeared on his face. Wind Shadow Shapeless Hand. Battle Wolf kill. The two regrouped, attacking toward Yi Chen together from the left and right. Yi Chen was not afraid at all, as he waved his sword to welcome the incoming attack. A horrifying slaughter sword intent surrounded his body, and eventually gathered on his long sword, which shone with a dark red light. The light was dreamy, carrying the purest killing intent in the world. The buildings of the Yi family started to shatter. Even though it was only a bit of that shocking sword intent, it had already darkened the sky completely, and the heavy clouds had reached the lowest point. Kill. As the battle reached its climax, Yi Chen waved out a sword attack. Gold-blue sword chi filled the sky, slicing through the dark clouds. Pooh! Ghost Cry and Ink Wolf both backed out, puking out a huge amount of blood. The two looked shocked. Who were they? They were the remaining elders of the 9 evil cult, with a cultivation at peak level mid-sea of Soul's realm, and had learned a couple of low-rank profound sense martial arts. Their martial will was not bad either, having already reached the martial soul rank 3. Their experience and battling talent were not their weaknesses either. Otherwise, they would not have been able to become the elders of the 9 evil cult. With their power, they had joined hands to fight against Yi Chen, but they were still pushed back by the latter while puking out blood. How could there be such a ridiculous thing in this world? If this brat is not killed, I will not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Ghost Weep gritted his teeth and spat out a sentence filled with killing intent. Hold on. Dream-eating wolf is the key to our mission. Ink Wolf reminded Ghost Cry. I know. Let him be arrogant for a while longer. After blowing away the two with one sword attack, Yi Chen performed his sword steps and approached the slower Ink Wolf. Before the latter could react, he stabbed out an amaranthine nature attack. The space pattern spread out along the sword body, and the blue sword light kept on shooting out. Not good danger. Ink Wolf was fully aware of Yi Chen's offensive power. Even if he were to fight an attack head-on, he would still vomit blood and be forced to retreat. If he were to use his protective Zhen Yuan to resist, he would definitely be courting death. Dang! Blinding sparks flew. Ink Wolf took out a high-grade shield, just in time to block Yi Chen's sure-kill sword. Quick sword hell! Using the counterforce, Yi Chen pulled away from Ink Wolf. Using the profound of fast, he fully performed the speed sword prison. The lightning-fast sword light almost covered the entire area where Ink Wolf and Yi Chen were standing. At the same time, countless streams of energy exploded, and a few blood flowers bloomed. Damn it! Ink Wolf held his saber in one hand, and his shield in the other, as he was sent flying again. Blood spurted out from his shoulder, left rib and thigh. Those were wounds caused by the speed sword prison. Even with the long saber and shield, he couldn't completely dodge the sword light. Is there no way to wound it? Yi Chen frowned. Although the name of the speed sword prison sounded nice, it was actually just a sword attack that could be thrown out in a split second after comprehending the profound of fast. In terms of power, it was still not as powerful as the original sword attack. After all, the speed was too fast, and the power would be scattered. The speed sword prison was very simple, so Yi Chen didn't have to spend too much time on it. Otherwise, how could he create a sword movement in just 3 days? Naming it Speed Sword Prison was just his ambition for the fast sword. He believed that the weakness of this movement would slowly disappear, and he would be able to use it one day. Wind kill. Behind him, Ghost Cry found the chance and pointed out a finger attack. This finger attack contained a powerful cutting power, as if it was a huge amount of wind blades. Chin. Sparks flew everywhere. Yi Chen held the sword hilt with his backhand, blocking Ghost Cry's attack. He then used the chance to turn around and throw out a sword attack with his right hand. Gold Resonant Radiance Sword. The Gold Resonant Radiance Sword was Yi Chen's most powerful single-target sword attack. The intense vibrating power attacked out, and the sword chi shattered Ghost Cry's protective Jin Yuan. However, Ghost Cry was not that easy to kill. At that critical moment, he activated his Jin Yuan and let out a shrill sound wave. It was like a ghost's cry, low and deep. It went straight into one's soul, making it hard for one to get out of it. It lowered the warrior's battle consciousness to the lowest level and made him fall into a deep state of fear. Being disturbed by the sound wave, Yi Chen's sword attack was slowed down by half a beat. Ghost Cry dodged it, and his own reaction was also slowed down by half a beat. Ink Wolf, do it now! Blood shot out of his shoulder, which was caused by the sword chi. Ghost Cry yelled at Ink Wolf. Remnant soul, come out! Ink Wolf knew that this was a rare opportunity, so he put away his top-rank shield and patted the beast tag on his waist with his left hand. A huge wolf with red hair and eyes on its forehead rushed out. Create Dream World. Ink Wolf ordered. Awah! Hearing him, the eyes on Dream-Eating Wolf's forehead shone with a dim light. The dim light expanded and turned into a dark light cover, covering all 3 of them. Since the Dream-Eating Wolf's target was Yi Chen, Ghost Cry and Ink Wolf were not affected by the dim light at all. What is this place? Yi Chen arrived at a desolate plain, surrounded by huge red wolves. Their eyes shone with a dim light as they stared at Yi Chen cruelly. Awah! Awah! The leading red wolf howled once, attacking at Yi Chen first. The other wolves followed right behind, rushing over like a flood. Kill! Yi Chen waved out his sword, killing a huge number of them. However, there were just too many of them. There was no end to them, and their numbers were uncountable. It was impossible to kill them all, and they were not afraid of death at all. No, this is not real. Yi Chen had the slaughter sword spirit, and his slaughter sword intent was more powerful than all of the master-level warriors. The reason why he was confused was because he had never encountered this kind of attack before. If it were someone else, they would not be able to think at all, and would only fall into a surreal world. They would numbly defend and kill until the surreal time was over. A moment inside was not even the blink of an eye outside. Let's kill him now. Ghost Cry was about to make his move. Ink Wolf hurried to say, no, he has just fallen in. If you make a move, he will wake up, and all our efforts will be wasted. Then how long do we have to wait? No hurry. Wait until he sinks deeper, and that will be the time to kill him. Ink Wolf was very confident about the Dream-Eating Wolf's ability to create dreams. The power of the Dream-Eating Wolf did not lie in its power as a rank 10 beast. In fact, although the Dream-Eating Wolf was a rank 10 beast, its power was similar to a rank 9 beast. However, the Dream-Eating Wolf had the ability to create dreams, which was even more powerful than the sea serpent's illusions. The latter could only make people hallucinate, making them think that what they were seeing was real, and their bodies could still move freely. However, the former could make people fall into a dream directly, making them think that they could move, but in fact it was just a dream, and their bodies could not move at all. Hee, when the time comes, tell me. Ghost Cry reached out his right index finger, and the power of the wind kill started to gather. The white light ball seemed to be made of countless compressed wind blades. With one finger, most of the objects would be pierced through. Break! On that desolate grassland, Yichen closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he roared, and a horrifying sound wave spread out. In the outside world, a cold light flashed through Yichen's eyes. While Ghost Cry was still in a daze, the long sword in his hand changed from a wave into a stab, piercing through Ghost Cry's throat. Fresh blood spurted out, and Ink Wolf, who was not far away, was shocked. Destroying a dream? What level of willpower does that require? Ink Wolf was very clear that anyone below the master level would not be able to destroy a dream within a second and break out of it. Even for a master-level warrior, if they encountered the dream-eating wolf for the first time, they would most likely die. The second master had sent him here because he knew that Yi Chen was raising an extremely rare rank 10 dream-eating wolf. With the dream-eating wolf's ability to create dreams, even if he encountered a master-level warrior, he might still be able to put up a fight, and might even be able to kill him. Could it be that his willpower has already surpassed the master level? Ink Wolf thought of a possibility, and his face turned extremely pale. He did not even care about the dream-eating wolf, whose soul had been injured, and ran away as fast as he could. Putting away his long sword, Yi Chen sneered and flicked his fingers. Swoosh! Beams of Lotus Heart Sword Chi that were as thin as bullets shot out, forming a dense sword chi tornado. The sword chi tornado instantly covered Ink Wolf, attacking him indiscriminately. His soul power had sensed countless sword chi attacks, so Ink Wolf hurried to take out his top-rank shield to protect his back. However, there were just too many sword chi attacks, and the shield's defensive range was limited. Swoosh! His right arm was cut off from the shoulder, and then his right calf, left calf, neck, head. When the top-rank shield lost control, it fell down from the sky. Ink Wolf was instantly turned into a sieve, and eventually turned into a rain of blood. Stopping the sword chi attack, Yi Chen let out a breath. Those two people and one wolf were indeed horrifying. It was not that he did not want to perform the sword chi tornado right from the start, but he was not confident that he could kill the two of them with one attack. If he performed the sword chi tornado and scared the other one away, it would be a disaster. Therefore, he had been waiting for a chance to kill the two of them with one attack. However, he did not expect that there would be another horrifying red wolf. If he had guessed it right, that red wolf should be a dream-eating wolf that was about to go extinct, and it had the power to create dreams. It was similar to the Shen beast that he had met in the 9 curves and 18 curves. Amidst the blood rain, a light spot and a metal tag fell down. Yi Chen reached out his hand and sucked them into his hand. The light spot was a storage ring, and the metal tag was a beast tag with the word beast carved on it. If he remembered it right, only the beast-controlling martial school still had the method to make beast tags. A lot of martial institutions would need to buy beast tags from the beast-controlling martial school, and then capture some beasts that could be tamed. Without the tag, even if they could tame the beasts, they would not be able to bring them around, as it would be too eye-catching. There were also different ranks for beast tags. The low-rank ones could only be used to raise beasts below rank 3. The mid-rank ones could be used to raise beasts below rank 7. And the top-rank ones could be used to raise beasts below rank 10. This beast tag was at least a top-rank beast tag, and its value was immeasurable. It was not something that could be bought easily. Good stuff. But in terms of value, it is still not as valuable as the dream-eating wolf. The dream created by the rank 10 dream-eating wolf is way too horrifying. Even master-level warriors would be killed if they were not careful. I wonder how much effort they had put into raising this dream-eating wolf to this level. Looking at the dream-eating wolf, Yi Chen shook his head. This dream-eating wolf was almost half dead. The wound on its soul was not that easy to recover from, and its dream-creating power would be greatly reduced as well. But of course, he could not let it go to waste. He had to find a way to tame it, and one day, it might be able to help him. Chapter 521. Early Sea of Soul Realm Cultivation. Rank 4 Sword Soul Peak Rank 4. Profound Sense Martial Art. great alertness, assassination success rate less than 30%, personal death rate more than 50%. In a corner of Luo City, the color of the shadows suddenly became a bit lighter, as if something had disappeared. A clasping Yuan realm warrior, who was walking by, had no idea. Putting away the storage ring and the beast tag, Yi Chen lowered his head and looked in the direction of the Yi family. He could not help but reveal a bitter smile. Half of the Yi family had been flattened, and the ground was full of holes. There were a lot of pitch-black cracks that had spread to the nearby streets. Fortunately, he had blown the two away in time and flown far into the sky. Otherwise, with the power of the aftermath, the whole Luo city would have been destroyed. The destructive power of a Sea of Soul Realm warrior was no joke. Shoo! Yi Chen flew toward the Yi family. "Chenair, you're not hurt, right?" Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing came to greet him. Yi Chen shook his head. "How is the Yi family? Is anyone hurt?" "Fortunately, your initial battle was not that intense. Only a dozen people were heavily wounded, and 30 were lightly wounded. Nothing serious." Letting out a breath, Yi Chen said seriously, "Father, Mother, this Luo city is no longer suitable for our Yi family to stay. You're afraid that someone will slaughter the Yi family if they can't find you." Shen Yuqing thought of the crux of the problem. "Indeed, you've seen it for yourself. The destructive power of a Sea of Soul Realm warrior is very shocking. Not to mention the Yi family. Even a Luo city can be destroyed easily. Therefore, it will be very dangerous for you to stay here. I don't want to see you suffer because of me." Yi Tianhao frowned. "But our Yi family has been living in Luo city for generations. I don't think many people would be willing to move away. How about this? Luo city's Yi family is still here, but we have to build an even bigger one. You guys can live there." Yi Chen thought for a bit and said, "Where to build it?" Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing looked at Yi Chen. "Somewhere near the Rudra Martial School. In the entire Windy Nation, only the South Rudra Martial School was relatively safe, since everyone knew that it was a branch of the Dragon God Celestial Palace. Wouldn't it be troublesome?" Shen Yuqing was referring to Long Bai. After all, Shen Yuqing was an inner elder of the Rudra Martial School. "Don't worry, there won't be any problems." Yi Chen had already displayed sufficient strength and potential, so this request wasn't excessive. In the future, he would pay back everything he owed Dragon God Celestial Palace, and even double it. The only thing he could do at the moment was to make himself even stronger. "All right," Yi Tianhao nodded. In fact, with the Yi clan's current situation, as long as sect leader Long agreed verbally, everything else would not be a problem. The Yi clan did not lack gold or spirit stones. They had enough to build 7 or 8 bigger Yi clans. Half a day later, Long Bai arrived. The news about the battle between Yi Chen and the 2 Sea of Souls realm warriors had just reached the Rudra Martial School. Knowing that Yi Chen had eliminated the enemies, Long Bai didn't think much of it. She thought it was just 2 ordinary Sea of Souls realm warriors. Build the Yi clan near the Rudra Martial School? No problem. I'll go back and have people pick a good place for you. After chatting for a while, Yi Chen expressed his idea, and Long Bai immediately agreed. Protecting the Yi clan and letting Yi Chen roam the outside world in peace was what they should do. Yi Chen's current performance was no longer that of a small genius, but a growing genius. When he reached his peak, it would be the time for the Dragon God Celestial Palace to reap the harvest. Receiving Long Bai's approval, the Yi clan became busy. Not only the Yi clan, but the entire Luo city was busy as well. The central plaza was destroyed, the golden statue shattered, the casualties, and the compensation for the deaths. All of these required the Luo City Lord Mansion and the Yi clan to make arrangements. Since it was because of Yi Chen, the Yi clan would be directly responsible for the compensation. 3 days later, the construction of the new Yi clan began. The location was chosen to be 200 li east of the Rudra Martial School. It was indeed a good place for feng shui. As for Yi Chen, he didn't participate in these matters and focused on cultivating. In another intact courtyard of the Yi clan in Luo City, "It's been 2 months since I entered the Sea of Souls realm. My cultivation base has more or less stabilized. I'm about to eat the spirit pattern fruit to reach the peak of early Sea of Souls realm. Advancing from early Sea of Souls realm to the peak of early Sea of Souls realm actually didn't have much of an increase in battle power. It was just that the Zhen Yuan would be more vigorous. However, having more vigorous Zhen Yuan was also an advantage, as it would allow one to fight for a long time. Taking out the spirit pattern fruit, Yi Chen took a few bites and swallowed it. Gulp. The pieces of the spirit pattern fruit melted once in his mouth, turning into a rich spirit pattern yuan qi that poured into his meridians. As Yi Chen trained his martial art, the yuan qi slowly turned into new Jin yuan. During the night, Yi Chen had successfully reached the peak of early Sea of Souls realm. His rich Jun yuan was like a huge river, running around in his meridians, and eventually flowing into the Zhen Yuan Ocean in his dantian. Huh! Letting out a breath, Yi Chen opened his eyes. His gaze was like lightning lighting up the whole room. It is indeed a top-rank spirit fruit. The yuan qi it contains is thousands of times more than top-rank soul stones, and it is even easier to absorb. After reaching the Sea of Souls realm, Yi Chen's absorption of top-rank soul stones had slowed down a lot, since the Sea of Souls realm Jin Yuan was a couple times purer than the astral-reaching realm Jin Yuan. A wolf howl was heard from outside the room, shaking the windows and making a loud noise. Yi Chen chuckled as he pushed open the door and walked out of the room. Inside the yard, a huge wolf with red hair and a lot of eyes on its forehead was lying on the ground. It was howling with its head raised, bringing up waves of qi. Seeing Yi Chen come out, the dream-eating wolf shut up immediately. Not bad. You know that running is useless. Yi Chen did not use any chains to lock the dream-eating wolf, since he did not have chains that were hard enough to lock a rank 10 beast. Normal chains were like pieces of wood in front of it. The dream-eating wolf spirit was still a bit low as it peeked at Yi Chen in fear. The fear that Yi Chen had brought to it was just too deep. Not only had he broken its dream, but he had also hurt its soul through the dream. Alright, I will break the soul mark on your soul now. Remember, do not resist. Otherwise, you will be the one in trouble. If he wanted the dream-eating wolf to recognize him as its master, the first step would be to get rid of the soul mark that the man in black had left in the dream-eating wolf's soul. Only then would he be able to brand his own soul mark. Woo! The dream-eating wolf howled a couple of times and nodded. Walking in front of the dream-eating wolf, Yi Chen pressed his palm on its forehead. A powerful soul power poured into its body. Soon, his pupils shone with a silver light, which was very different from the soul power he had released before. The dream-eating wolf's body was shaking. It was not because it was hurt, but because Yi Chen's soul power was way too powerful. It was 5 times more powerful than its previous master. Not to mention the fact that it did not want to fight back. Even if it did want to, it would have obediently followed Yi Chen's orders. If it did not want to die, then it could not go against the young man in front of it. In the deepest part of the dream-eating wolf's soul, Yi Chen found a strange soul mark. The soul mark was a very complicated thing. It was like a totem, but also a spell. And the soul mark on the weapon was different from the one on the soul. The one on the weapon would need to be replenished every once in a while, while the one on the soul would not need to be replenished at all. It would be rooted in the dream-eating wolf's soul, absorbing the soul power of the dream-eating wolf. In other words, as long as the dream-eating wolf did not die, this soul mark would exist forever, unless someone came to get rid of it. If Yi Chen were only a normal Sea of Souls realm warrior, it would be very hard for him to get rid of the soul mark. But his soul power was unbelievably powerful. Without harming the dream-eating wolf, he only needed to slightly circulate his soul power to get rid of the original soul mark. Soul mark. After getting rid of the strange soul mark, Yi Chen started the second step, which was to brand his own soul mark. With this soul mark, the dream-eating wolf would not dare to betray him anymore. As long as Yi Chen willed it, it would be in so much pain that it would want to die. The dream-eating wolf lied on the ground obediently, breathing heavily. Branding the soul mark would take a long time. It was not until midnight that Yi Chen stopped, the silver light in his eyes fading away. Alright, you can go out and hunt now. Don't hurt anyone, and don't run too far away. Yi Chen knew that the damage to the dream-eating wolf's soul would not be healed in a short period of time. If there were no soul-healing medicines, it would not be able to recover to its peak state in this lifetime. It might even leave some side effects. Therefore, letting it go out to hunt for food was a must. As for the dream-eating wolf's every move, it would not escape Yi Chen's senses. Deep inside its soul was his own soul mark, and only life and death realm warriors would be able to get rid of it. Hearing him, the dream-eating wolf rubbed against Yi Chen's clothes timidly, making a couple of low growls before turning around and disappearing into the night. A rank 10 demonic beast is indeed a rank 10 beast. Even if its power to create dreams is damaged, it is still way more powerful than a rank 9 beast. Easily sensing where the dream-eating wolf had gone, Yi Chen let out a breath. Next, he would need to get rid of the soul mark on the beast tag. Then, he would only need to keep the dream-eating wolf in the tag, and he would be able to take it everywhere without worrying about attracting attention. It was easy to get rid of the soul mark on the tag. After a quarter of an hour, the tag had completely changed owners and had become Yi Chen's tag. It is indeed a top-ranked tag. The space inside is almost as big as the Yi families, and there is even natural yuan qi flowing in. Entering his beast tag with his soul power, Yi Chen saw the space inside the tag. It was a space that covered thousands of hectares. There were mountains and rivers, and the sky was dark and cloudy. Strands of natural yuan qi leaked in, nourishing the land and maintaining the balance of the space. The tag could not only keep one beast, especially the top-ranked tag with a huge space. As long as the beasts were not allowed to kill each other, it would be able to keep at least dozens of beasts inside. Of course, Yi Chen had calculated it based on the size of normal beasts. If it were a beast with a huge body, it would probably be too crowded with just 1 or 2 beasts. Chapter 522. Second Master, this kid is tricky. I do not even have 30% confidence. Inside the dark underground building, the elder in black robes looked like he was thinking. Beside him, there was a lump of shadow, from which came a dry voice, one word at a time. The elder in black robes lifted up his head, his face blurry. 2 cold stars shone in his eyes. You are my best assassin, and even you say that you do not have 30% confidence. It seems like he has already matured. People with great luck are hard to kill. It seems like the gods are on their side. But if our 9 ghost cult wants to kill him, even the gods would not be able to help. What is the plan, Second Master? Wait for the black demon to come out. Black demon. The shadow moved a little bit, and it was obvious that it was emotional. Nightmare, you should not stay idle during this period of time. Bring your assassins and kill one of the candidates for the deputy leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, Li Shaoling. This kid is no less threatening than Yi Chen. Plus, he has the water spirit body. The elder in black robes had a cold look in his eyes. As long as it was a top martial genius related to the old Dragon King and Xianhou, he would kill them all. It would not be wise to let an enemy with potential grow. If it were not for the fact that the Master Union was so busy, having to deal with all the information coming from all directions, and also having to watch out for the dark power, he would have done it himself already. Star Regional Lake, east of the core area. This place was calm and peaceful. The lake water was deep blue, and there were no islands around. Looking into the distance, one could only see the sparkling water. On the surface of the lake, a small boat was parked there, and an old man was fishing leisurely. The fishing rod was like jade, and the fishing line was shining with a crystal-like luster. However, that fishing hook was not a normal fishing hook, but a finger-long, slightly curved silver-sharp blade. The sharp blade was as thin as paper, and it seemed to be quite heavy. The fishing line was stretched taut, and even the wind could not move it. In the air near the boat, a middle-aged man wearing a scholar robe stood in the air, holding a book in one hand and the other behind his back. He seemed to be immersed in the world of books. Fisherman, you said that the Treasure River Island would appear in a couple of days. But we have been waiting for a whole week, and nothing has happened. Are you sure you are not mistaken? On the surface of the lake not far away, there was a huge flower boat with an antique design. A beautiful woman in red stood at the bow of the boat. She stopped looking at the lake and said to the old man who was fishing, The old man focused his attention on the fishing line and said lightly, "Before the Treasure River Island appears, there will definitely be a 5-colored light shining on the surface of the lake. I will not be wrong. Let's just wait patiently. I have no idea where this island came from. Every time it appears, it seems like it was born out of thin air. But before it appears, it would leave behind some kind of sign. It is really hard to tell." The lady in red looked helpless. The middle-aged man glanced at the red-clothed woman and smiled. "The world is full of wonders. There are too many things that you and I do not understand. It is better to read more books. What is the point of reading? If you did not spend so much time reading, you would be a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior already. Hee, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. Only the fisherman is free." The middle-aged man suddenly put away his book and stared at the lake in front of him with a sharp gaze. The lady in red and the fisherman had also noticed the anomaly. They did not even blink their eyes as they started to look more serious. Under the lake, a huge black shadow appeared out of nowhere. It was so huge that one could not even see the edge of it. They could only see the tip of the iceberg. Treasure River Island? Before the lady in red came, she had already checked the bottom of the lake and made sure that there was no trace of it. This black shadow was just too strange, as if it came from another world. Rumble. Soon, the endless black shadow appeared on the surface of the lake. The 5-colored light spread out, dyeing the air, the lake water, and the clouds into a colorful color. It was like a dream, and it was not real at all. It is indeed the Treasure River Island. The middle-aged man gasped as his sight was filled with 5 different colors. Through it, he saw an island that looked like a small continent. The island was covered in a layer of 5-colored light, making it impossible to see what was inside. It was exactly the same as the Treasure River Island that was described in the ancient books. The lady in red sounded excited. There are countless spirit plants on this island, including some extinct ones. If you are lucky, you might be able to find 1 or 2 top-rank spirit plants. According to the rumors, someone had found the 9-twist reverse spirit plant, dragon blood plant, youth flower, and many other rare top-rank spirit plants. The fisherman chuckled. Spirit plants are just one of them. The Treasure River Island is a mysterious island where all the treasures are gathered. Alright, let's start to break the spell. This 5-colored light's defense and attacking power are not normal. Although we are all top spirit warriors, we cannot afford to be careless. The appearance of the Treasure River Island, no matter how troublesome it would be worth it? The lady in red and the middle-aged man chuckled, feeling very happy. Right then, some people were attracted by the 5-colored light from afar. It was a group of Sea of Souls realm warriors who had been wandering around the core area of the Star Regional Lake. The Star Regional Lake was one of the few lakes in the whole True Spirit continent. It had a radius of millions of miles, and there were countless dangerous places, especially in the center of the core area. Even life and death realm warriors might not be able to make it back alive. Although the core area was relatively less dangerous, warriors below the Sea of Souls realm would not be able to go in and out as they wished, since the death rate would be extremely high. Therefore, most of the warriors who appeared in this area were Sea of Souls realm warriors. There were warriors from the South Ridra region, the Misty Snow region, the Wavy Cloud region, and even the Mountain region. This group of Sea of Souls realm warriors had been traveling together for years, exploring all kinds of dangerous places in the Star Regional Lake. The 5-colored light from the island was too bright, and as long as they were within hundreds of miles, they would be able to sense it easily. Therefore, they rushed over immediately. This is the Treasure River Island. It is the Treasure River Island. Oh my God! Now that the Treasure River Island has appeared, our opportunity has come. One of the Sea of Souls realm warriors seemed to have thought of something, and his face lit up as he explained to his partner. What? It is the legendary Treasure River Island. The last time it appeared was 100 years ago, right? No one knew when the island would show up, so it was all up to luck. Therefore, no one knew when the island would show up, and how many years it would take to show up. After all, it was possible that when the island appeared, there would be no one around, and then it would disappear again. The lady in red sneered as she exchanged a look with the middle-aged man and the elder. Your fortuitous encounter ends here, said Yi Shiwen. The elder stood up and waved the fishing rod in his hand. The silver sharp blade that was attached to the fishing line shot out. The fishing line seemed to be bouncy, as it could reach dozens of miles with ease. Because of its crystal-like appearance, the fishing line was barely visible, which was hard to notice. Pooh! The silver sharp blade made an arc in the air, piercing through the throat of a Sea of Souls realm warrior. Then, with the bouncy effect of the fishing line, it shot backward, slicing through the other two Sea of Souls realm warriors. Blood splashed everywhere. The Sea of Souls realm warrior, who had his throat pierced through, clutched his neck and fell down from the sky in shock. He did not even see how the elder had attacked him. Meanwhile, the other two Sea of Souls realm warriors nearby were suddenly sliced in half. The cut surface was smooth like a mirror. Looking at the fishing line that had been pulled back, a blood-colored light shone on it, as a drop of blood splashed out. The silver sharp blade and the fishing line could both kill. Run! After a slight pause, the other Sea of Souls realm warriors started to run for their lives. The elder was way too powerful. He had killed 3 of their partners within a second. Plus, that silver sharp blade and fishing line seemed to be extremely sharp, which meant that they might be top-rank weapons as well. Shoo! 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 After 3 of them had died, there were only 6 Sea of Souls realm warriors left, and they started to run toward the distance. 100 flowers. The lady in red had a cold expression on her face as she shook her hand and shot out a huge amount of bright light shards. They were crystal chips that looked like all kinds of flower petals. With a flash, they landed among the 6 warriors. All of a sudden, another 2 warriors had fallen down, and another 2 had been badly wounded. Their running speed had been reduced drastically. Flash sword. The middle-aged man's weapon was a sword, a thin and long sword. His long and slim hand held onto the sword handle as he waved out a sword attack. Pooh! A bright light shone, and the 2 badly wounded warriors were sliced into pieces. The remaining beam of light caught up with one warrior, who was slower than them, and cut off half of his body. The 3 of them had killed 8 Sea of Souls realm warriors with just one attack. It was as easy as eating and drinking. However, the last Sea of Souls realm warrior was extremely fast as he disappeared into the sky. The elder's eyes shone as he said slowly, "His flying art contains the profound of thunder. No wonder he is so fast. Let's not waste any more time. Let's break through the colorful light first and get into the island." The lady in red and the middle-aged man nodded. They did not look too good, and the carefree mood they had before had disappeared completely. Thousands of miles away, the Sea of Souls realm warrior, who had just escaped, was still scared, his face pale. So scary. I did not even have the power to fight back. The good thing is that I am at mid-Sea of Souls realm, and my flying art contains the profound of thunder. These 3 are so powerful. Once I get into the island, I will definitely die if I run into them. But giving up on the island is not my style either. It is such a rare opportunity, so I will have to try. What should I do? What should I do to grab this opportunity? All right, spread the news out. The man's eyes brightened as he said excitedly, "There are a lot of treasures on the island. It might not be a bad thing if more people go there. No matter how big the cake is, it would have to be big enough for one person to eat. Since I cannot eat it all, why don't I spread the news out? I don't believe that the 3 of them would be able to kill everyone else. Let's do this." After making up his mind, the man did not stop and flew toward the nearest mountain region. The news about the Treasure River Island had spread out very fast. Normally, it would be great if there were only a few people who knew about the secret. However, this time, it seemed like someone had been pushing it in the dark, so a lot of people knew about it. But of course, they were all close to the Star Regional Lake. If the distance was too far, the news would not be able to spread out. Since the person behind the scenes did not want everyone to know about it, those who knew about it all kept it a secret and headed toward the place where the island would appear. Inside the martial city of the Black Dragon Empire. Treasure River Island? Yi Chun had just arrived in the martial city of the Black Dragon Empire recently. He wanted to go through the city and trade for some pellets or medicines with some Sea of Souls realm warriors. These things were for his parents, so that they could reach the astral reaching realm as soon as possible. After all, he already had the power and the identity of a Sea of Souls realm warrior. So why not do more for his parents? All of these things would be very easy for him. Just before, when he was about to talk with the Sea of Souls realm warrior in the Martial City, someone sent a Zhen Yuan message to them, telling them that the island had appeared somewhere in the Star Regional Lake. Sorry, I will leave now. The Sea of Souls realm warrior, who was talking with Yi Chun, had heard the news and left in a hurry. Yi Chun did not mind, since there were a lot of treasures on the island. Perhaps he would be able to find some medicines that could help his parents increase their cultivation. If it were before, I would have to think about it. But now that I am not that weak anymore, it is a must for me to enter the island. His eyes flashed as Yi Chun left the room. Chapter 523. The huge island had a circumference of nearly 1,000 miles. Because the multicolored light was too dazzling, the air could be seen from hundreds of miles away. Around the island, people kept coming over. Looking from afar, they looked like tiny black dots. It was already half a month after Yi Chun found the Treasure River Island. The island was not ridiculously huge. At least Yi Chun had seen a lot of islands that were bigger than this one. But none of the islands were covered in a layer of endless colorful light. It was exactly because of the existence of the colorful light that made the Treasure River Island look so majestic and magnificent, and it could shock one's soul. Boom! Not far away, a Sea of Soul realm expert launched an attack, wanting to break through the restriction. However, the multicolored light was exceptionally tough, bouncing him back. Not only that, the multicolored light separated into numerous multicolored ribbons that chased after him. The colorful light bands were extremely fast as they intertwined with each other. Soon, that warrior was covered in sweat and blood. He backed out a couple of miles with an ugly expression on his face. Meanwhile, similar scenes kept happening around the island. Less than 30% of the warriors were able to break in. Taking out his emerald green longsword, Yi Chun took a deep breath and threw out a sword attack toward the colorful light. A chi explosion sound was heard as an extremely thin gap was torn open in the colorful light. The edge of the gap was intertwined with colorful silk threads. Like a piece of cotton cloth being torn apart, the threads were still connected. Chi! Chi! The colorful threads weaved back together and shot out even more colorful threads, turning into a light belt that attacked toward Yi Chun. Yi Chun's body flashed, avoiding the incoming light bands. What a strange power! It is actually made up of countless energy strings. My sky thunder cut with all of my power could only make a small crack. It is not enough for my whole body to get in. Swoosh! Cutting apart the light band in front of him, Yi Chun suddenly increased his speed, traveling through a couple of light bands. His longsword carried a golden blue light as it landed on the colorful light. A long crack appeared on the surface of the colorful light. The colorful strings kept being destroyed and regenerated, maintaining the balance for a while. Shoo! Yi Chun turned into a beam of light and shot in. Ah! He can actually barge in. The Sea of Souls realm warrior, who was in a sorry state before, noticed what was happening, and a shocked expression flashed through his face. As soon as he entered the multicolored light, above the island, Yi Chun's body sank, as if there was an invisible force pulling him down, or as if there was a heavy mountain pressing down on his back. His Zhen Yuan and blood qi stagnated, and his breathing became stagnant. Yi Chun steadied himself when he was 10 meters away from the island's surface. Looking back, where the multicolored glow originally was, the sea of clouds was surging, and the fog was hazy. In the sea of clouds, there was an unhealed crack. Obviously, this crack was left when Yi Chun passed through the sea of clouds. Following the crack, Yi Chun saw the scene outside, through the much softer multicolored glow. The scene was distorted and blurred, as if it had been refracted many times. Withdrawing his gaze, Yi Chun began to size up his current location. In his eyes, mountains were rising and falling one after another. Some of them were tall and green, while others were short and strange. On top of the mountains, there were waterfalls and fountains looking very beautiful. From time to time, there would be beautiful spirit light and treasure light shooting out, as if there was some kind of treasure there, shining with its own radiance. Because he could not fly in the sky, Yichen could only see the mountains in a small area. His soul power was also greatly reduced in this place, and his detection range was not more than 5 miles. Without much hesitation, Yichen flew toward the area where the spirit light had shot out, trying his best to hide his aura along the way. After half the time it would take to make tea, Yichen found the source of the spirit light. In the crevice of the mountain rocks, there was a spirit flower with waxy white leaves and green flowers. This spirit flower was the size of a palm, and the tiny blood vessels on its stem were clearly visible, just like the meridians of a human body. Because there was too much spirit energy, this spirit flower was constantly releasing a condensed spirit light. Tendon refining flower. Yichen recognized the origin of this spirit flower. It was the tendon refining flower that he had obtained in the foggy area. The tendon refining flower was a mid-rank spirit flower, and one could be sold for 5,000 mid-rank soul stones. If it could be made into a tendon refining pellet with other precious materials, it could even be sold for 30,000 mid-rank soul stones. The meridians of the human body were very important, but they were also relatively fragile. If the meridians were not smooth, then the battling power would not be able to be used to its peak. If the meridians were broken, it would be a catastrophic injury for a warrior, and it would be very hard to recover. However, a tendon refining pellet could not only heal the broken meridians in a short period of time, but it could also strengthen the meridians, making them extremely tough. Although this tendon refining flower is a mid-rank spirit flower, it has probably reached the 10,000-year level. Even if it is not as powerful as the extreme rank spirit flower, it is not far from it. Yichen moved his mind and waved his hand. The tendon refining flower flew out of the soil and landed on his hand. He then put it into his storage ring. Inside the storage ring, there were many flower pots of different sizes, and the soil was very rich. In the corner, there were many jade bottles, which contained the spirit liquid that could help the plants grow. He had bought these spirit liquids from some special places. As for the nutrition liquid that Wang Heng had given him before, he had already used it up. Planting the tendon refining flower in the pot and filling it with soil, Yichen withdrew his mind power and flew toward the next area, where the spirit light exploded. So many spirit plants. Almost every mountain has spirit light shooting out. This is something unimaginable in the outside world. The two Sea of Souls realm warriors looked at each other, their faces full of joy. What are you waiting for? Let's go and pick them. Suppressing their excitement, the two pushed their Zhen Yuan and flew at a low altitude. Ah! A wail was heard from another area. Right next to a blood-red spirit plant, there was a human and a beast. It was a Sea of Souls realm warrior with a pale face. One of his arms had been bitten off by something, and it was not blood that poured out from the wound. Instead, it was dirty pus, which was extremely disgusting. As time went on, his shoulder started to corrode, and more pus started to pour out. In front of him was a 10-meter-long blood-red poisonous snake. Its upper body was huge, and its tongue was sticking out of its mouth. A creepy light shone in its eyes. Damn it! Why is there a rank 9 blood dragon snake right next to the dragon blood plant? The warrior's face was full of despair. The blood dragon snake was an ancient beast, and its poison was extremely powerful. Without a special antidote, the victim would die for sure. Unless they reached the life and death realm and trained the undying body, they would be able to ignore the poison. Die. Knowing that he was going to die for sure, the warrior pushed his Zhen Yuan and tried to fight back. Boom! The blood dragon snake's body did not move, but it waved its tail. Without even a shadow, this Sea of Souls realm warrior's chest caved in, and he was blown away. Blood dragon snake. Hundreds of meters away, Yichen stood on top of a hill. The hill was filled with lush greenery, covering him completely. Only his eyes could be seen. The blood dragon snake's name was well known to Yichen. Among all the poisonous creatures in the world, the blood dragon snake could be ranked in the top 10. It was said that no one under the life and death realm would be able to handle its poison. And when the blood dragon snake reached adulthood, it would have the power of a rank 9 demonic beast, which was no weaker than the water ape race. Judging only based on rank 9 might not be that high, but it was an ancient beast with an extremely powerful battling power. Normal water apes would not be able to compete with it. My power is only at the same level as the blood dragon snake. If I want to get the dragon blood plant, I will need to think of a plan. Although Yi Chun had reached the Sea of Souls realm, and had the power of a top spirit warrior, compared to Sun Xiaojin, he might not be as powerful as him. Judging from this, the blood dragon snake's power would definitely not be weaker than his. Not to mention that it had the top 10 poison, which would definitely be a powerful ace. After thinking for a while, Yi Chun still could not come up with a good plan. Once a demonic beast reached rank 9, its intelligence would be no different from a normal human being's. So it would be hard for him to trick it with his cheap tricks. I guess I will have to use my separating shadow flying art to get it. After making up his mind, Yi Chun walked out of the grass and pushed his Zhen Yuan to its limit, jumping out into the air. Squeak! 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 The blood dragon snake noticed Yi Chun right away. Its scales opened up, and its body expanded. A purple-green beast chi spread out from its body. Pooh! A poison arrow shot out like lightning. All the plants in its path started to wither, unable to handle the poison chi. Separate. His body was like a shadow as Yi Chun's real body shot out from the shadow, and appeared behind the blood dragon snake, right near the dragon blood plant. The blood flood dragon snake's reaction was extremely fast. The scales on its back trembled and fell off. With a tremble in the air, they shot out with crackling sounds. Indeed hard to deal with. Yi Chun did not dare to underestimate the attacking power of the scales. Only his upper body was wearing the top-ranked defensive treasure, the gold armor. His limbs and head were not protected at all. Once his protective Zhen Yuan was broken, he would definitely be badly wounded. After all, he had only trained his immortal body to the first level, which was flesh recovery. It was not really immortal. Turning shadow, his body turned thin, turning into a shadow as Yi Chun shot out toward the dragon blood plant. Above him, the sound of the scales breaking through the air could be heard. Yi Chun's separating shadow flying art was too amazing. Even if the blood dragon snake had thousands of attacks, it would not be able to stop him in time. It could only move its body and chase after him. Seeing that the dragon blood plant was about to be in his hands, a crystal-like light appeared in the air out of nowhere. It was faintly discernible, looking extremely creepy. Yi Chun sensed it and twisted his body, trying to avoid it. Swoosh! All of a sudden, a hair-thin crack appeared on the ground. At the end of the crack was the location of the dragon blood plant. With a flash of silver light, it stabbed into the soil underneath the plant, digging out the plant along with the soil. The speed was so fast that it was almost beyond Yi Chun's sight. This dragon blood plant, this old man will gladly accept it. The voice came from afar. What made Yi Chun's expression change was that before the old man left, he had thrown out a chi wall to block his way. If he backed off, it would be the furious blood dragon snake. Old man, you are too unkind. You stole my things, and now you want to kill me. Yi Chun's soul power could cover 5 times more than Sea of Souls realm warriors, reaching 5 miles. Therefore, the appearance of the old man was clearly seen by him. As for the old man, he knew nothing about him, since Yi Chun's soul power was 1 level higher than his after all. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.